As you know, I'm Kainton the Tech Pro, and today we are going to see how to make a post request to insert data into MySQL database using PHP by making a REST API, creating a REST web service. We've done that. We are going to write the post method and then call this post method to insert data into MySQL database, and this is going to be very easy as well. I'd like to remind you to subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button below this video. And that way you motivate me to keep making these lessons. And also, if you have any challenges whatsoever, let me know, because I like to help new developers to come up to speed. And PHP is a good way to get up to speed with a whole lot of things at the same time without spending so much time to learn. So PHP with MySQL and Dreamweaver and a few other things like Bootstrap and JQuery, you can get going by creating an application and deploying it to the cloud. So hit the subscribe button and let me know if you have any challenges. Alright, so I've created a step-by-step in my website. So if you look at the description box below this video, you'll see a link to this page. You can follow the step-by-step. Alright, so we already created a form. You can see this form. Let me just clean it up so that it looks kind of presentable. So this form is for inserting data, is for making a GET request and displaying the data. I'm going to kind of reduce the font size so that, or maybe I can just shift this a bit. Alright, so that we can see everything. So I'm going to take out this comment. Remember that jQuery is simply the same as JavaScript, so the syntax is about the same thing. Alright, so this is the scripts, and this is for making GET requests. And making a post request follows the same method, alright? Although we missed out something, let's see. Okay. So what I'm going to do at this point is to follow the procedure. I'm going to first create a form, a HTML, a kind of input that can accept data, text boxes that can accept input. So I'm going to just copy and paste instead of writing it from scratch. I'm going to paste it just below this one. So I'm going to just Control V. So I'm calling this div tag insert div. So I'm putting all the div tags, all the text boxes in a div tag. I would like to preview to just see how it looks like, just for the fun of it, to see how it looks like. So at this point, if I right click, if I press F5 to refresh, you can see we have the form right now. So it's easy, copy it and paste or design it by yourself. Alright, so take note of the IDs of these forms. I give them IDs that is different from the names of the fields in the database. Alright, so now we are going to write the JQuery method. The JQuery method is called now it's going to be triggered, this method, when someone clicks on this save student. That is why we are making a selector save student. So let me copy it and paste, then I'm going to explain it to you clearly. So I'm going to copy it and now I'm going to paste it at this point. Alright, so let's take a look. So when you click on the save student, then we are writing a click function, the callback function. First, I want to write something on the console that says inserting data. We are going to extract items from the text boxes. We are going to extract the first name. Using the val function, we are going to extract the last name. We are going to extract the location. Remember, the selector for the IDs is the hash key. Alright, so we have $. We are selecting the TSC first name element and getting the value and storing it in these three items, in these three variables you see here. So now we are going to now create a student object, right? So a student object here is a composite object made up of three items: first name, last name, and location, right? So we have the key and value pairs just like JSON. So we have the first name, the first name, F name contains the value at this point, and last name contains L name, the value at this point. So we have the student object that has been created using the values that were gotten from the text boxes. So you get values from the text boxes and use it to create a new student or a new record, right? So student is simply a record in the database, or a user, or however you want to call it. But you must be consistent. So now the same way we make a get request is the same way, similar to how we make a post request. We are going to say $.post, specify the URL, and specify the object you want to insert. The object we want to insert is student, and once it is inserted, we need a callback function that will execute. So this callback function will simply take the data that was inserted and write it out to the console, right? So it's going to just write it out to the console as console.log. Okay, so now we've written the HTML part of it. The post methods have to be handled in the REST API, that is the services.php, and the services.php is only containing the methods to handle GET requests. So let's go to services.php and then write the methods for handling post requests. All right, so will it be difficult? Well, let's see. So I've made a comment at this point. This comment says we starting from the GET request and end of the GET request, right? At this point, you can see right here. So now when a request is coming into this REST API, that request can be get, post, put, or delete. So what we are going to do, we are going to check what that request is. If it's a get request, we are going to execute this very code you see here. But if it's a post request, then we are going to execute another block of code that will handle the post request, right? Okay, so to check what request is coming in, we are going to use, now you can take some time to read up this. So this is the entire code, but I'm going to try to explain it to you a bit. So to check what request is coming in, we are going to use something called the server global variable. So the method the method is a request method of this global variable, is a request method attribute. So to capture the request method, because we need to check this request method before we decide what to do, if it's a post or a put or a get request. So I'm going to create a variable called method equals, so the global variable is like this, $server. So you see the advantage of Dreamweaver now, it gives us IntelliSense and makes it a bit easy. So it's gonna be request method. Now, don't worry yourself, this is the hard way of doing it because I want you to learn. Later, I'm going to show you an easier way to do all the same thing we are doing using using PDO. This is different thing I'm going to talk about later. All right, so now the methods have been extracted and put into a variable called method. So if the method is get or if it's post, so let's say if just write it like this, if methods if the method is equal to get, what is happening to me today? So if the method is equal to get, let's execute a particular code, else if if method is equal to post, if method is equal to post, it's actually uppercase. So if method is equal to post, we're also going to execute another block of code. So this very one that we already have is the one to execute when the method is get. So I'm going to just cut it out. Now you can see the code is very simple to understand, and I'm going to paste it here for when the method is get, and I'm going to kind of do a little cleanup. Let's see. So let's indent it so that it makes some sense. Just indent it is okay. All right, so when the method is post, I've also written the code, so I'm going to simply copy it. It goes from here to here, and I'm going to paste it right here. Okay. So now we have the conditional statement has been set up for post and get. So the question you might ask is, what is happening in this code? All right, what is happening is this. When the method is post, we have the post global variable that holds the variables or the values that is coming in into the request, into the API. So these values are first name, last name, and location. We extract them and place them in other variables called $first name, $last name, and $location. These are the fields in our SQL database, don't forget that. And then we are going to write SQL insert statement, insert into DemoDB TBL users, that is our table name. I'm going to shift this a bit so that it becomes, I'm going to actually collapse it completely. So insert into the DemoDB.tbl users. For some reason, you need to append the database name plus the table name. You specify the column names and values, specify the values you want to insert, which is these values that is coming from the request coming into this REST API. And then we are using the value of 0 because this is auto increment field, so we have 1 already existing there. So after doing this, we now use MySQLi query, and we specify the connection object and the query we want to run, which is insert query we already wrote. And then once it's done, we echo or we print out the output. Student data was successfully inserted, else error occurs, and then we display the error message to the output. It's fairly easy. Maybe you can pause the video, take some time to wrap your head around it. You see that it's really very simple. I'm going to save everything and let's test it to see if it works. I'm going to yes to all puts. So let's go to this place and I'm going to maximize this window at this time because I want to be looking at the console. I will just click on inspect so that, so I think I'm having some challenges here. Okay, so you see what is happening. So it's telling me incomplete activity. So let's see. Let me see where the problem is coming from. So first I'm going to save all and index I'm going to put. So I think it's completed now. So let's go to the window. So I'm going to leave this window open and I'm going to refresh this page. All right, so we refresh the page at this point. And if I go to console, again, I'm going to just kind of refresh it. Okay, I don't really get what I'm looking for. All right, so we have the index page. So let's try to insert some items and see how it goes. Let me try to insert, let's say, I don't know who you are, but let's assume your name is John. John Smith. And your location is New Jersey. The spelling is correct, I don't know. So insert. So I think we have some challenges at this point. So there tend to be some error at some point. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to come to, yes, I'm going to explain to you where the error is coming from. We actually did not use the document.ready function. So the document.ready, if you are running more than one code, JQuery code, you need to use the document.ready function. So I'm going to say at this point, first let me just indent everything. All right. So I'm going to come here and say document.ready. So the selector is a dollar documents dot ready. So document.ready. Okay, so I'm actually going to check because it's like I missed out something. So let me just check and make sure. So this copy of demo web. I'm going to just come here and open with Notepad++. Okay, so I have documents.ready function. So let me just copy it. All right, so document.ready function. I'm going to close out this and close out the last one as well. So I'm going to close out the last one. Sorry, close out this last one and put semicolon. So basically, everything that is going to be happening inside the document.ready function. So let me just copy this or cut it out from here and put it all the way. So in case you miss out something, feel free to copy. Feel free to copy the yeah. So everything is okay. Feel free to copy the one in my website and just paste it. So we have the complete code in my website is right here. Let's see. So the complete code is right here. Okay, this is not, yeah, so let's try to run it again and see what happens. Let me just check something. Okay. All right, so let's save everything. Yes. Okay, so let's get back here. So this is where we are. So I'm going to refresh this page. All right, so console, I'm going to try to insert something. Yeah, let me just say DD. All right, so I'm going to insert. So you can see it says inserting data. You see the console and it says student data was successfully inserted. Now, this John Smith BD, if I refresh this page right now, you can see the last one is John Smith. It's inserted correctly. So everything is okay. We've completed get, we completed post, but there is something more to do. For instance, how do we make some changes like the put? This we are going to do in the next lesson. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you've not subscribed to my channel. Feel free to leave me a comment if this has been informative for you. Like my video. Please also share it around on your social network profile. Maybe it can help someone, you never can tell. Alright, so we see you in the next class.